Welcome, parents. How are you doing tonight? Good. We're going to go ahead and get started. We see the weather is a little haphazardous out there, so we're not going to try to keep you any longer than we need to. This is our first sixth grade math and science resource night. We put this together with the intent of giving out information to parents about resources that are available to your students via home. We got a lot of feedback in the last couple of years of like, oh, I didn't know that was available, or I wish I would have known about that. I would have been having them use that. So this is the intent, trying to get that information out to you and hopefully getting that used at home, and also for you to ask questions if you're having concerns or need help with some of these items. So our agenda, we're going to show you some of our material through math and science. Then we're going to physically show you how to log into these different things from home. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A. We'll have a lovely Vanna White come through the audience for those of you that have questions. And we do have our tech specialists and lovely teachers that will hopefully be able to get the answer for you. And if you need to, we have a lovely laptop station over here to be able to sign up for something that you do not have access to. And again, we will have lovely teachers over there to help with that. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce the math department. Mrs. Likes, sixth grade math.
I'm Mrs. Joseph.
I'm Mr. Nolan.
And I'm Ms. Alvarez.
We are the sixth grade math team, and we are here to help your children. We just want you to know that. So without further ado. All right, homework, ladies and gentlemen. This is the big red mark. I know a lot of your kids are coming from campuses that did not have homework. Math and science is usually the two classes that have homework on this campus. For math, we have homework 3 nights a week. It's always the first 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. If it's a holiday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Homework is due the next day. Go out Monday, do Tuesday. Go out Tuesday, do Wednesday, so forth. If you ever have a question about if there was ever homework assigned, please contact one of us, but that is usually the schedule. We might let up around the holidays, but most of the time it's true to blue, okay? Also, if they said they did it in class, 9 times out of 10, there was no class time to do it. They had homework, okay? And if they said they did it, that's okay. Tell them to whip it out. Let me see what you did. Let me see that work. Please just double check it. Don't just say, oh, yeah, you did it. Gotcha. We're usually testing over materials every other week, so please make sure that your students are actually looking over their notes, looking at their materials. Our textbooks, they had a backlog on it, so we do not have enough for the students that we have on campus. So once they get that order in, the physical textbook will go home with the student. That book is for them to keep. It never comes back to us. We do not assign anything out of it. It is an additional resource for them to use at home. So if you're wanting them to do extra practice on their own, that workbook has worksheets in there. There's examples in there. There's vocabulary in there. It's theirs to do whatever they want with it. And we will send out a message saying, hey, we got the books. They went home with your child. So look for that, okay? All right, examples of what our homework looks like. This is a half of a sheet, of course. There's usually no more than around 6 or 7 problems that we give them a night. Usually, if it's a test coming up, you might see a few more problems on there, but we don't try to bog them down. We know they have other classes. We know they have a life outside of school. So no more than 6 or 7 questions is going home on those 3 homework assignments that they're getting for the whole week. Okay? Now, the biggest problem that we have when homework is coming back is that there's just answers on there. Miss, I did it in my head. Oh, okay. So you did all that in your head? I need to see the work. So a lot of the times, we'll give it back. Turn that in tomorrow. I need some work on there. I need to see your process. Because a lot of times, if they have the wrong answer and they did it in their head, how can we assist? How can we show them, oh, this is what you did wrong. You didn't carry that 0. Or, oh, you forgot to do multiplication here. We need to see the process. We can't do that if they're not showing us what they're doing. So work must be shown. It is crucial for us to be able to help them to see what they're doing. Okay? I'm going to pass it over to Ms. Joseph.
And I just want to say that the homework really should not take students more than about 30 minutes. There's times where we've gotten messages from parents that say our child was doing homework for 2 or 3 hours. You know, after that 45 minutes, you might just want to stop because you know what's going to happen. There's the meltdown and so forth. So send the student in for tutoring, and that's what I'm about to talk about right now. We have tutoring in the morning, during the day, and then after school. Our morning tutoring, Mr. Nolan is our banner light right there. That sign is posted right outside his classroom. Students cannot miss that because it's right where the students have to walk to get seated. So they see the sign and they should just walk in there with their work. Okay? The tutoring is available every morning, Monday through Friday. It's from 7:45 a.m. till about 8:20. Sometimes students want to come in after 8:10, and we do not allow them to do so because there's not much by the time they unpack their binder, sharpen a pencil, sign in, it's close to 8:15. So we really stress that once the students come, either they eat breakfast at home or they come here and eat breakfast at 7:45, that they come straight to the classroom and have their tutorial ready to go, which includes their work, their notes, any other resources that they have that they were using at home. Students, sometimes parents will require the students to attend tutoring, and we see that year after year. Well, my mom makes me come to tutoring. She says I have to be here. And that's great, but sometimes the students will just sit there and they may get 2 problems done. So it's hard to get that student motivated. So just know that yes, they may be coming, but they're not really getting all of the material completed. The students do sign in, and we do keep those documents as record. The students cannot come in with a blank piece of paper. They must attempt to show their work. We understand that they may struggle with it at times, but we never send home work that has not been taught. There's recursive. The recursive part about it is that we may have taught something in September, and it could be closer to a benchmark, like in November. We're going to put some of that material on there. But again, it's stuff that has not been taught. Everything has been given instruction. They must also come in with pencils. That's one of the big things. They come in and they spend a good 3 or 4 minutes looking for somebody who has pencils. Then we have the tutorial during the lunchtime. The students are selected to come in for lunch based on a couple of criteria. If the student is failing because they are missing a test, or they haven't completed a test, or they scored poorly on a test, we're going to ask them to come in. That group is probably much smaller than the AM tutoring because the AM tutoring is homework help, where the lunch is more TEAC specific, but it's also, we only give so much time to make up a test or to complete a test. So if we can't get them to come in before school or after school, we will get them during lunch. Sometimes transportation is an issue, so we will try to get them in for lunch. Yes, your child does get to eat. They eat in the classroom. They come and they get a pass, but we actually deliver a pass to them, to their 3rd period teacher. They bring the pass and go first in line, and they come back upstairs, and then that's where they eat. And then the last 15 minutes, if we're lucky, then they'll complete their assignment. The students must also bring their work, their notes, and okay, so the students must bring in their materials to complete that tutorial. Sometimes the students will bring their lunch and they're like, I need to go to my locker. Well, the locker turns into go to the bathroom. It goes, they talk in the hallway, and literally they may have 5 minutes. So we encourage the students to bring all of their materials to lunch. Let's see. And then there's the after-school tutoring. The tutoring is basically, it's tutorial. It's not there to socialize because my other friends are staying after school. If the students are having difficulties focusing and staying focused on their work and not on their friends, we probably will have to call home. It's rare that we do that. Most of the kids that come to tutoring are there to learn. But in the event if the students are disruptive, then we probably will have that conversation of maybe this isn't the best placement for them at this time. There is no tutoring bus. We used to have a bus that would take students home, so if you had older students that used to attend Luna, yes, we did have a bus, but there is a shortage of bus drivers across the city, and we no longer have a bus. Last year, I know Ms. Lice and Ms. Burnett, we had waited till 6:30, if not 7, for a bus, and tutoring ends at 5. So we were here and kids are getting home late at night. So if you have your child that walks home or if you pick them up, tutoring does end at 5 p.m. Okay. The tutoring for the afternoon is held on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. We do not have tutoring on Tuesdays because that is dedicated to our faculty meetings and department meetings and other things that happen on campus. And then, of course, there's Friday. Attendance is low, and sometimes teachers just need to go home and regroup or take a nap. And here in the afternoon, we work on the same like we do at lunch, the TEKS specific. Where are they working not so hot on? If they need to make up a test or they need to retake their test or if they've been absent. So if you have any questions about tutoring, we are going to ask those questions after the whole presentation between math and science.
Okay, one thing about the after-school tutoring, that's more of the one-on-one time with the teacher. The morning tutoring is usually very, very crowded with students working on homework. So if your child is really struggling and needs that one-on-one time, the best time for that tutoring would be after school.
Thank you.
Okay, reteach and retest. All assignments can be taken up to 2 times for a better grade. It will be the student's responsibility to come in on their own time before after school to complete a retake. So we will start the reteach within the class with the flexible, what is it called, the grouping, and we will assess the students to see what TEK they're needing work on. We will reteach it at that time. If they are unable to finish the retake or the retest, they need to come in before school or after school to finish the retest. Retest consists of coming in to be retaught the material and the complete practice. Once a student has shown that they understand, they will be given a retest over the material. We always keep the better grade. So out of the 3 chances, we always take the better grade of the 3 tests.
All right, now we got regulars versus pre-AP. I know some parents and students were scared about being in pre-AP for the first time. There's really not a huge difference between regulars and pre-AP. The biggest thing would be the length that we go. We go at a little bit of a quicker pace in pre-AP compared to regulars. The rigor is a little bit harder in pre-AP. We make the students think more outside the box in pre-AP. I know I teach pre-AP a little bit differently. I'll do a small lecture, very, very small. Then I let the students practice. Then I have them go up to the board and they learn to teach other students as well. So I have a different teaching style for that. Let's see. Pre-AP, more towards the end of the school year, we're going to start hitting a lot of 7th grade TEKs, getting them ready for the 7th grade. And during our test for pre-AP, we do something called FRQs. Those are free response questions. That's where we do questions where we make the students think outside the box. But overall, the difference between regulars and pre-AP is the pacing. It's just a little bit faster.
I want to end the math section with grades. We ask parents to regularly check the grades. That is literally our lifeline to you. We pride ourselves, the math department, with having that grade book updated by Friday. So that way, if there's anything missing, if there's anything that's below your standard in your household, if a 70 is unacceptable, maybe even a 75 is not what your standard is in the household, we pride ourselves on having that grade book up to date so you can have those conversations at home and say, hey, why does Miss Likes have an M in the grade book? Why is this missing? Oh, no, I turned it in. Well, homework's at the beginning of the week. It's Friday now. Why does it have an M in there? So please check the grade book. Make sure you're having those conversations at home. And if something is a mistake, shoot us an email. We'll double check, make sure it wasn't a typo. Maybe it was a misstroke and oh yeah, that was in there. We'll get it corrected. Okay? We're going to pass it over to science.
All right, hello everyone. Good evening. My name is Mrs. Polk and I am one of the science teachers. We have Miss Burnett back there in the back. Hello, Miss Burnett. Back here. And Miss Buckley was not able to be here tonight. But there are three of us and we are happy that you have entrusted your children to us. So, interactive notebooks. You can see the picture up there, but you can see how thick this one is. Okay? You can see that we use them every day. So every day there's going to be something in there. We're going to be writing in there. We're going to be drawing in there. We're going to be doing all sorts of good things in there, including some of our labs. Okay, so it is very important that they bring their journals on a daily basis. Now, can they take them home? Yes, they can. They can take them home to study, to finish up any work that they have not done. So unless it's if they don't have to do any of those things, then of course it stays in the classroom. Makes it easier for them and for us to keep track of their journals. Okay, go ahead. Okay, our office hours are for Ms. Burnett. It is on Monday morning at 7:45 to 8:20. We have Thursday from 4 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. For Ms. Buckley, it is on Wednesday at 7:45. And on Thursday, it is my office hours from 7:45 to 8:20. Now, because these are all our children, okay, we will tutor Ms. Burnett's, I will tutor Ms. Burnett's students, Ms. Buckley's students, whomever needs to come in, either finish their journal, finish a test, finish classwork, something that they didn't finish, something that they may need assistance with, they can come in to any one of our classes any one of these times. Okay, we will also help them if they didn't do so well on a test. We will re-engage them. We will work with them to get a better score the second time around. Okay. Homework in science. We rarely give out homework. The homework is more so classwork. If we do give out any type of homework, we will let you know through Remind, and we will post it in Google Classroom. It will be in there so that if in case they lose it, they're able to make a copy. I know that we also allow that if they did lose their copy, we sent it out to Remind, that they can just go ahead and write out their answers and bring that paper back in the next day, okay, when it is due. So we make it easily accessible for them so that they can be successful. Okay, go ahead. All right, our Google Classroom. If you see up in the very first picture, the very first thing, sorry. Okay, we call that a waffle. That is a 3 by 3. We can see that up there, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the little tiny squares. Okay, can you do that, Vanna? Thank you. All right. So if you look down at the very bottom, we have Classroom, Google Classroom. Okay, this is where they click in here and they can see copies of their journal. Okay, so even if they misnumbered or they didn't put it in the right place, you can always refer back to Google Classroom. It is in there. Their pages are set up the way that ours are. And so if they kind of miss, a couple of pages, please look in the Google Classroom. It is in there. Okay, if they forgot their journal and they need to study, like tonight, because we have a test tomorrow, it's in there. All right, the next one, you can see what classes they are there. So they will have all of their classes in there. And I know that the math department tends to post in Google Classroom, social studies. So we all put our stuff in there. Okay? On the side, on the far right, you'll be able to see what assignments are due and when they're due. The very top section says STREAM, schoolwork. Okay? STREAM is just an announcement for us, for science. Classwork is where we put in what is due and on what day. Okay? Go ahead. All right. So today, and was it yesterday, we had our students work on some of the safety videos. And so we had all the videos linked in just in case they did not have the QR reader uploaded, on their device. Okay? So when you open it, it will look like this. Okay? And so they should have finished those QR code questions. If not, they can finish them tonight and bring them in tomorrow because they're due tomorrow. All right. And there is pictures of them in there. All right. Okay, so like I said, these are all our children. So we will tutor any one of our kids. So they can come to any one of the classrooms and work on any assignment, any redos, anything that they need to do. All right?
All right, we are to the part of the presentation where I think most of you wanted to get more information about. Google Classroom. The district has sent out a new initiative with that, where we were able to last year send out Google Codes to you guys, and you were able to join it just like as if you were a student. Well, they revamped that. You no longer have it to where parents can just join that way. We have to individually add you into the classroom. We pulled this from the district website. I'm just going to read it because it might be a little too small back there. When guardians join Classroom, they receive regular automatic email summaries for each of their students. Guardians choose the frequency of the emails, either daily or weekly, and can unsubscribe at any time. Guardian email summaries include missing work that's late at the time the email was sent, upcoming work that's due today and tomorrow for the daily emails, or work that's due in the upcoming week if you signed up for the weekly emails. Class activity, announcements, assignments, and questions recently posted by the teachers. By default, all email summaries for your classes are turned off. And it says if you want to learn how to do that, you just go into your manage email summaries, and then you can turn that on. So what's happening is, those of you that were signed up through your email, it sent you for you to accept it. And if you did it on your phone, by default, it's going to send you a weekly summary. And those weekly summaries go out every Friday afternoon. So whatever the teacher had posted that week will be sent to you through an email until Friday afternoon. In order for you to change it to daily emails, if that's what you would like, you would have to go under the settings and change it to daily. And the daily emails are sent out every afternoon. So unfortunately, if a teacher posts in the evening, you will not get it till the next afternoon. So they're not letting you have full access like you did before. The go-around is to log in as your student. That's pretty much what we're finding out. You have to log in as your student if you want full access to it. Okay? So the summaries, they're not going to let you be able to click on the assignments and print them. They're not going to let you be able to view them. Only log in as your student will you be able to do that. Okay? Also, they gave us a sample of what the summaries look like in this corner right here. And then this is an example of what the class activity report prints out as an email. It says you from your own email account cannot see your child's actual Google Classroom. Only logging in as your child or sitting with your child will be able to see the full thing. Okay? So I'm actually going to show you from the child's perspective and from the parent's perspective how to log into these accounts from home. Because a lot of our students, they log in here at school, it just pops up. But then when they get home, they're like, well, I don't know what website to go to. I don't know how to get to that. So I'm going to show you where to go from home so that way your students are able to access these resources and you yourself can be able to view them as well. So I'm going to switch over to the internet real quick. Come back up.
No. There it goes.
All right. Okay, so from home, you would go to the district webpage, nisd.net. Once on that page, you would scroll all the way down to where it says for parents and for students. For our students, if they need to log into any material, i.e. the Google Classroom, the online textbook, they're going to click on the link that says GAF Login. Right here, GAF Login. Once they click on that, that will take them to the portal login, and that's where they will use their S number, which is their username, the S with their student ID, and their 4x4 password. Now, we had a lot of confusion with the 4x4 because a lot of parents were under the assumption that it was still the last four of the name and social. Well, the year before last, the district changed that. It's still the last four of the last name, but the numbers were generated by district. It is still the same login that they should have used last year in elementary school. Okay, so we did hand out those passwords. If your child happens to have lost it, they can come back to their teacher and any one of us can look it up and give it to them. We cannot send it through email. It's a security risk. They will not allow us to send passwords or even their student email through the email. So the student will physically have to come get it from us. We're more than fine with them taking a picture of it and sending it to you, so you can have it as well, but they have to come ask for it from us. Okay? Parents, you are also able to log in from this website. It's still called Parent Connection on here, but once you get there, it does say Home Access Center, and it says Access Center Login. If you do not have an account set up, again, after this session, we have lovely teachers that will help you get that set up today so that you will be able to have access to the grade books, okay? So log in from a student. When they log in with their 4x4 and their student ID, this is their home screen. They have revamped it, okay? They are able to access CMS. That's more helpful when they take their CDBs or benchmarks. You can see their grades in there. The Discovery Education, I know science uses that a lot with the videos, so if they need access to videos for their science lab, they can go from there. Their Gmail and their textbook, which is McGraw-Hill. With McGraw-Hill, that is used through math and social studies. Both books are in that program, so I'm going to show you that first. When it clicks on there, it's going to load up. Hopefully rather quickly. Math is on top, social studies on bottom. Whichever book they're trying to get into, they would click on it and it would open up. So for example, we are in chapter 1 right now. We're in chapter 1, so they would click on the textbook. Up here at the top is where it has the drop-down menus. All the chapters that are in that book, I do believe we have 14 chapters altogether. They click on chapter 1, which is rational numbers and coordinate planes. We just went over fractions and decimals, which is lesson 1.4. Let's say your child was struggling at that. They just took a quiz today, so you'll know. Click on lesson 1.4. Okay. All the material for that lesson will load up over here on the sidebar. And if you hover over it, ABC is your vocabulary. Yes, ma'am. ABC is your vocabulary. The blue button is your tutorer. It actually has someone working out problems to be able to show examples, live examples. The one that I like to click on mostly is the red check mark. Your student can assess themselves at home to see if they are ready for a test or a quiz that's coming up. It will grade it for them and tell them what they got wrong. If you click on all resources in that same tab, this is a sample quiz that they can check themselves on the all resources tab. If you click on that button, yes ma'am, all resources. When you click on that, everything for that lesson pops up in one spot. If there's any tutoring videos, as you can see, there's 16 in here. 16 videos of a live person working out problems step by step. There's also the There's also worksheets. If you want your child to have extra practice, there's worksheets in there that they can, you can have them print out, or they can just do it on their own piece of paper, and they can come and ask us to check their answers because we have the answer books. Okay? Any tools or games that might be associated with a lesson, some of them we have interactive games in there. A lot of the kids like that. Not every chapter has it, but some of them do. Okay? So this is a really good resource if you think your child needs that extra help at home. This textbook is for them. Okay? Now we're going to go back to the portal, the MyNSC portal at the top. All right. So if you're trying to get to their Google Classroom, they're going to click on their Gmail link. We call it the waffle that's in the upper right-hand corner. Once you click on the waffle, the drop-down menu, you should see Classroom, and that's where they're going to click. Okay? Once in, all their teachers are going to show up. And for this purposes, we're going to go ahead and click on Math. In Math, we post the homework. Mom, I lost it. It flew out the window. I don't know what happened. Guess what? Copy in Google Classroom. If you don't have a printer at home, that's okay. We accept it on line paper. Put their name on it, put the title, boom, we got it. There's no excuse. Notes, oh, Mom, I don't know what we did in class. That's okay. It's in there. Front and back, with examples, step by step. Pull it up, let's see it. We make it available. We want your child to be successful. The notes, the homework. If you want extra practice and you didn't like what the book had, email me. I will send you something else. Okay? We want your child to be successful. We're here to help them. There's no reason why they come to class. I don't have it. I lost it. Did you log into Google? No, there should be no excuse. Same thing with science. Same thing with social studies. Same thing with ELA. Okay?
So if your child is sick one day and you want to know where all their missing work or the work is to make it up, already here.
And a prime example was the year before last when that flu hit real bad. We had a lot of kids out for like a week or 2 weeks at a time, and they were coming back to all that missing work. That's what kind of made us revamp this. Like, you know what? We can make it available. Why not? Why let them get that far behind when they don't need to? So if you know they're going to...
They can send it electronically.
Yes, they can send it into us in Google Classroom as well. Okay? Now we're going to look at the parent view, and then we're going to open it up to questions.
All the links that she just talked about are in the back of your pamphlet. If you're needing to know all those links, it says helpful links. It's on the back of your pamphlet.
All right, the last thing I want to show you, those of you that are signed up for HACK and already have the gradebook access, a lot of parents, we got feedback from that they were confused. Like, I checked that gradebook, that grade hasn't been updated for weeks. It's the same grade showing in there. What we're finding is that they're not clicking in the right spot to see the current grade, okay? So when you log into HACK, at the top here, it says classes. And I think the confusion was there's a grade button. That is only when the progress report or the report card has been sent out. So, oh, yes, I know. Oh, you just log back in. There we go, sorry. All right, once you click on classes, that's when you will see the drop down of all the assignments that that teacher has posted and the grades that was given. If you see a blank, that is not necessarily that it was a 0. It's that it wasn't entered yet, but the assignment was published. Now, if there's a 0 or a letter in there, then yes, it is calculating as a 0, and that's when you probably want to have that conversation like, hey, why does this say this in the grade book? What's going on? Okay? And it usually shows the average off to the right-hand side. Algebra, as you can see, this student got a 0 on her test. So that might be a conversation, you know, like, hey, what's going on? What happened to this test? You better get in your tutor and get that retest done with Ms. Mikes or Mr. Nolan or Ms. Albert. Okay? So you have to click on classes in order to see the grades and the assignments that are posted in there. Okay? I'm going to let Mr. Nolan talk about tardies and then we're going to... Oh yes, there are triggers.
right here, Ms. Joseph is pointing to the email push mobile. You can set alerts. If you want to know if your child's grade falls below a certain grade average, like I said, in your household, whatever your expectation is, you can set an alert to either be sent by email or text or both. Whenever a grade is entered that is below that expectation of your household, it will immediately send it once that grade is entered into the grade book. And you can do that for every class. So that's also a good way to keep up with what's going on in there as well.
All right, so the students have had about 2 weeks now to get used to their schedule, finding how to get from one class to another. I know with my students, I gave them a tour of the school, the quickest way to go from the 6th grade wing all the way down to PE, and so forth. Well, what we started at the end of last year is after-school D-halls. That is the first time the student is late to a class, they get a warning. We call home saying your child was late. The second time that they are tardy to a class, they get after-school D-hall from 3:45 till 5. And there is no bus to take them home. The parents will have to pick them up.
2 days.
So,
For 2 days.
oh, it's 2 days notice, right? Okay, that y'all do get 2 days notice. So let's say April was tardy to class 2 days on Monday and Tuesday. She would get D-hall then on Thursday. There is no D-hall on Friday after school because that starts the weekend for us. So D-halls are Monday through Thursday.
Also, on that same note, no materials policy has also went into effect. What that encompasses is that if a child is consistently coming to class without their materials to do their work, i.e. their binder, i.e. their notebook, their language arts book, whatever it is that they need to be able to do the work, again, they get a warning and the phone call goes home. If they come again with no materials, it is an after-school D-hall. Okay? The kids have been briefed on this for 2 weeks straight. We've been telling them, hey, bring your stuff, bring your stuff. Monday this starts. Okay?
So we had this question last night, so I wanted to address it. The D-halls for no materials and tardies recess after the 6 week period. Okay? If it's a discipline issue, that's something different. That's kind of just adding and so forth. But if it's no materials or tardies, after the grading period, it restarts.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of our presentation. We're going to open it up for questions. If you can just raise your hand, our lovely Vanna White is going to come around with the mic. So that way we can all hear the question and hopefully we have an answer for you.
If you have any questions, go ahead and go hand in the air. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. You got the answers, we promise. I'll try not to fall. I'll try not to fall. You got 3 hands, I think.
I'm like talking to you.
Yes, ma'am.
So you guys are very self-explanatory about everything. So you guys are very understanding what you explain with everything that you so that. My oldest daughter, she just entered 6th grade. My question is, and it might be kind of off subject, but the whole tardy thing is the 5 minutes before class. There's one teacher for my daughter, and it says at the top of the rules, it says, once you enter my classroom, you are not allowed to leave. I'm questioning that because if my daughter needs to use the restroom, she has my permission to get in trouble and use the restroom. So she has not had issues with it. I've asked her. I'm like, hey, how are you doing? You know, get into your classroom, you need to use the restroom. And her answer to me was, well, I just told it. I think that's going to present a problem in the near future. She has no issues, but I'm kind of concerned about that.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, during passing periods when they are supposed to go to the bathroom, they do have locker times before school, before lunch, and after school. That's their only locker time. But during passing period, instead of mingling with friends, you go use the bathroom, get ready to go to class. And then the bathroom policy here during school is during the first 10 minutes you can't go, and during the last 10 minutes of class you cannot go. I personally, if I'm doing a lecture that day, wait until I'm done lecturing, and then I will let you go.
Okay, well that's good to know, because at the same time I was like, wait a minute, they're not allowed at all? Because
No.
that's not okay with me.
No.
That's for students who like to abuse the privileges.
And I do
So-
understand that.
Yes, and we have students that don't ever really ask, but they'll say, Miss, I need to go, and there's 5 minutes to the bell. If that student rarely asks to leave the room, then it's a go. But we have to set that standard so that students know not to ask 5 minutes. Because you see kids and their friends are walking down the hallway, they see them through the little hole in the wall, in the window, and they'll say, Miss, I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
Okay.
That's understandable. I just wanted to make sure she absolutely needs to go.
Yes.
Because if she didn't have time, going from one class to the next, that she's not going to get in trouble for it.
Correct.
Especially if it's not an everyday thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
How soon can the students begin coming in to retest? Or is it and it's for quizzes and tests?
Yes.
Okay.
Usually when we have a quiz out, we usually let them just go ahead and do corrections. We usually give them anywhere from 2 to 3 days, or they might get a whole week. The test, we usually start it in class, the reteach, retest, and if they did not finish, they literally have 2 weeks to get it done. But that's them coming in. We started in class, but they have to come in and finish it. We're not, there's 100 and something odd kids that we have between us, and we like, did you do it? Did you do it? I can't remember. They have to come in and self-advocate. If they want that better grade, they come in and get it done, and we'll make sure it gets done.
And the reason for the 2-week window is because we tend to give a test every 2 weeks. And it's kind of hard to, the child is going to get confused. So we really need to get those grades entered.
I saw another panel on this side as well. Any other questions that we can hopefully address?
I will say the biggest, if you have me, Mr. Nolan, I'm very big on remind as part of my communication. If you are a person that doesn't like all those dings on your phone, if you don't like them, then unsubscribe from me. If you have a personal question, send me an email. But I send reminds home every single day. I let you know, hey, we got homework on Monday, it's due Tuesday. We got a test coming up in 2 weeks. I send them home every single day.
And I'm like mom over here because I have children in Northside as well. So what I do is I don't get the dings, but I do go in the evening and I look to see the messages because I don't like my phone ringing. When I get home, that's my time with my husband and the dogs and my granddaughters and children. So I want to be able to do that. So I'm with you, and there's 7 or 8 teachers that your children have. We understand that. But
I will say it is still the beginning of school, so a lot of that is because we're trying to push information out to you, but it should settle down because we want to make sure that you're getting that important information, that you're understanding that things are going home, and we want to make sure that you're seeing it. And then once we're out of the honeymoon phase, you should probably maybe a couple of things a week, and then it should phase down. Yes,
So
ma'am.
this might be a stupid question, but, so I am on Remind, but I get notifications on Remind and text message. Is there a way to just get it through the app and not text? Because my texts are blowing up, and at the same time, I'm getting the same notifications on Remind.
the way I did that,
We have a parent that has to use.
I log into Remind,
Okay.
and you have to actually go into the settings and click to get your phone number on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, because that's the only thing you're Thank you.
I didn't know. We only send them. We don't know how it works.
the other option is to block that number that comes through to the text.
Well,
That's a quick fix.
I did by just stopping the text message, and then when I went on the Remind app, it removed me from that message.
Oh.
Yeah, it did. So I had to re-add it again.
While they're walking with the mic for that parent there, sometimes when we're sending a long message, it's going to send several times. So when you have something to respond to, if the teacher has allowed that responses come through, it's probably easier if it's going to be lengthy to email the teacher, because as we respond, it's going to give a lot of ding, ding, ding. So I think we had a consensus yesterday that it was probably best to email. Yes. Go ahead.
When they retake the test, is it the same exact test or is it different?
It's a totally new test. It's a totally new test.
Same material, different problems.
Because I had a seventh grader and he's doing on roll. Thinks he's doing great in school and he failed his part. And to me, I felt like, okay, if he was struggling, but he told me that when he failed his test, and he takes the test, he's doing good. So to me, I didn't know that until the end of the year, he just was in Florida. And I'm thinking he's doing great. And we don't do that in Florida. Either you take it, you fail it, that's kind of help or whatever. So that was my question. I was like, I have a sixth grader now, he's an 18. And how would I know that he's struggling? He's taking the test, he's not doing well the first time, and he takes the second time, he's doing well, and then other one is later on at the end of the year, he fails. He fails his first test and he takes on-roll.
So that's a school test versus STAR test question.
I mean, he should be doing good in the start of that, right?
Yes, Mom, and sometimes students have test anxiety. My son, who's 28, is so smart, but he can't pass a test to save his life. So it could be some test anxiety, but I would certainly communicate with that teacher ongoing, how is the learning? Because you're right, scores don't just really mean the world. The score is how they did, it's not what they really know.
And a 25-point math classroom question versus a 4-hour STAR test.
Yes.
So it kind of does matter, right? So say for some reason they didn't finish their quiz today, when can they do that? I'm good.
The quiz was a 4-question quiz that they had today.
What was the question?
Oh, sorry.
If they didn't finish the quiz that they had in math today, when can they go in to do it? Like, is that like a morning thing, or is that what, like, I'm trying to...
It's teacher by teacher. For my kiddos, they had 15 minutes in class for 4 questions. I graded it.
Okay.
They're going to get it back tomorrow, whether it was finished or not. But they get to correct it. They get to correct it to bring the grade up. Because it was 4 questions, and we did two examples very similar to what they were going to see, and they had 15 minutes to do it. So it's assessing what they understood. We needed to see what they understood. So they do get to correct it to bring it up for a better grade, though.
And but when they go to correct it, is that when they go to the tutoring?
Yes, they can come in with tutoring to get help with it, yes.
And it is going home tomorrow, so they can take it home and get it done over the weekend, but we are asking that the students return it on Monday to get that credit.
Any other questions? So we're going to open it up. If you would like to use the technology here that we have available and you need help setting up any accounts. If not, we're glad you came out tonight and we hope it was very informative.
If you have any personal questions you want to ask us, we're all up here or around, you can come ask.
Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it.